Joined in studio this evening by Reserves IDF Brigadier General Israel Relik Shafir, the former commander of the Tel Nof Air Force Base and a former combat pilot, and our correspondent, Robert Swift. And Relik, what about that question? It seems like Israel is stepping up its strikes in the north. We heard some reports of Hezbollah moving their forces perhaps a little bit away from the border. How do you read the situation now?
The worst thing that can happen in this particular case is that Hezbollah will withdraw, let's say, 3-4 kilometers from the border and will stop firing, because that means that they're still staying on the border. They're a formidable force, and we supposedly won't have an excuse to get the 1701 decision implemented. So they might be playing with this, and that depends on Iran, how Iran sees this and actually controls the reactions of Hezbollah. But I think Israel has an interest to inch Hezbollah to the Litani River and hit their major communication posts and command and controls, and as many Hezbollah fighters as possible. So this is a kind of a game where Hezbollah is careful not to cause a lot of damage as far as human life is concerned, because that will bring Israel over the edge, and it will have to strike maybe even the Dahya quarter in Beirut.
All right, we're going to get back to that situation and, of course, the combat in the south. Again, everyone expected, or those that knew the situation expected it, but we are starting to see for some dissension within the government, a little controversy. Economy Minister Nir Barkat publicly criticized, very rarely in first rare times, at least a member of the Likud, criticizing the IDF, making the claim that aerial attacks have been restricted, possibly out of concern for civilian casualties, probably because of U.S. pressure, and the result has been putting IDF soldiers in situations that are potentially more dangerous. Do you see any validity to that point?
No, absolutely not. This is a political, I would say even a cynical political move by the minister. And we can also see all kinds of moves by other ministers vying for what they perceive 2024 elections. And the more Netanyahu looks fragile, the more those politicians will think ahead of their primaries or the elections and make a choice on how to behave to their constituencies. So I would put it in a sense that the prime minister cannot call, especially the right wing, because if they leave and he aggravates them too much, he doesn't have a government. And elections looming ahead will probably see him lose the election. So I think it's, unfortunately, it's a political move more than anything else.
All right, we'll come back to the ground operation in Gaza. First report of a missile striking not in the Red Sea or in the Gulf, but closer to the coast of India, and a missile that is that was fired not from Yemen by one of Iran's proxies, the Houti rebels, but from within Iran itself. Maybe a sort of warning shot by Iran about that it's willing to expand these attacks if indeed the coalition starts acting against the Houti rebels.
Well, if this is a deliberate act that was handed down from the Iranian leadership, I would be surprised, because that puts them directly in harm's way. This has to be checked, whether it's some militia in Iran and even the Houthis. I'm not sure that Maersk, who are shipping to Yemen as well, did not reach some kind of an agreement with the Houthis. So there's a lot of smoke cover that we don't know of what is actually going on, and the discussions and give and take that takes place right now.
Right, but how effective would for example, in the coalition, would they have the capacity using air power to effectively strike those Yemeni rebels, the Houthis, who have withstood years of airstrikes from Saudi Arabia's air force?
Yes, but I think in this particular case, they have the Fifth Fleet very close by. These missiles and drones are no small, drones that are fired to short range. So these need infrastructure, and I'm sure they're being covered by UAVs and know exactly where to strike. So I think it's just a question of decision to take them out rather than the technical or war capability.
But
and that was from Israel's Channel 12 knows it's not going to win the Red Cross president any more fans here in Israel. I can tell you that. We're coming to the end of our hour. Just briefly, Relik, a remarkable young man, a life lost, but a man who felt, a young man, Moshe Baron, who felt he was on a mission and gave his life for it.
As long as we have people like Moshe, he's exemplary because he made Aliyah from France. But as long as we have people with that kind of a devotion in all branches of the military, we'll have the upper hand in spite of the losses and the grief that we go through. This is a testing time for us, and we must win this war because it's Israel's survival at hand. So we'll have to bite the bullet and continue.
All right, continue on, and that is what the IDF is doing. Brigadier General Israel Relik Shafir, thank you for joining us on this hour of our special broadcast.